salutare a tutti i ragazzi.
Penso
di
che
uno
non servano parole per queste immagini.
delle scuole di Assisi.
Non servono parole per queste immagini, è bello proprio aspettarlo così, guardandolo in silenzio.
Ci porta lacrime negli occhi.
Arriva.
Eccolo.
E il vescovo di Assisi, Domenico Sorrentino, a riceverlo, salutare. Abbiamo anche lì la nostra amica Maria Giordet della Norvegia, che lo saluta, fa un presente, un regalo. Maria Giordet, come tanti altri, fanno parte della EWTN Academy, una delle realtà di The Economy of Francesco. Abbiamo anche Astasia del Mozambico. Saiga. Vediamo ora Agustina Brizuela dell'Argentina, anche lei parte della EWTN Academy. Però una delle realtà di The Economy of Francesco,
Sì,
la EWTN
qui
Academy.
i giovani ricercatori hanno la possibilità di poter presentare le proprie ricerche, i propri lavori a altri docenti e colleghi. È una delle più belle iniziative di Economy.
Abbiamo anche Asokan di Sri Lanka. Anche lui una persona che dopo la Laudato Si ha sentito questa chiamata a dover fare qualcosa nella propria comunità ed è così che si è messo a lavorare, a fare tante cose insieme alla sua parrocchia, al vescovo della sua città. Quindi eccolo, Sohan del Sri Lanka. Sta per arrivare. Ecco la selfie che non poteva mancare. nostra carissima suora Alessandra Smerilli. Anche la sindaco Stefania Proiect.
Gli ultimi metri, eh?
Sta arrivando! Arriva!
Crowd now on its feet as the Pope is expected in just another minute or two. Over the last couple of days, the economy of Francesco has seen youth-led sessions, speeches, and roundtable discussions to present the ideas and projects that these young people have been working on for the past couple of years, aimed at addressing economic issues and contemporary challenges. They've talked about the need for international solidarity to prevent wars. They presented their projects, had these small group sessions come up with new ideas, along with readings and reflections and personal testimonies to inspire them in their work. And the Holy Father is coming into the Lyric Theater now and has arrived on the stage to the round of applause of the many young people present here in the auditorium. As we mentioned, this is an international gathering. There are young people from more than 100 different countries who are here for the Economy of Francesco. So there will be a variety of languages in use during the event. I'll be translating as much as possible for you. There's also a fair amount of English that will be spoken, so we'll let you listen to those testimonies.
Bienvenido, Papa Francisco. Bienvenido. Muchas gracias.
Welcome, Pope Francis, and thank you for being here with us today.
Son los jóvenes de the Economy of Francesco.
And the Holy Father gives them a thumbs up.
Sei finalmente qui ad Assisi con noi, Papa.
You're finally here with us in Assisi.
Finalmente. Grazie.
Non li immaginavi così belli però, no? Qualcuno è brutto, sì, ma non possiamo fare molto. Bene, ora Papa Francesco abbiamo preparato un momento per te.
Now we have prepared a little moment for you, Holy Father, a musical program that is based on a reading adapted from the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapters 21, 1 through 12. It's a fairly loose adaptation. Musical presentation features interpretive dance and a video on the large screen.
Va, sii sentinella notturna. Quello che vedi
The Lord said to me, "Go, be a night watchman. That which you see, cry out. Listen diligently, very diligently."
nella torre di guardia, Signore, io sono colui che sta.
Then the watchman cried out, "In the watchtower, O Lord, I am he who stands. All day long I stand at my post, never at night do I leave it."
E due cavalli.
And behold, there came a chariot with a man and 2 horses. The man cried out, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon, and all the graven images of her gods are shattered to the ground. They cry to me from Ser, Shomer Mamilaila.
Sentinella, quanto manca al giorno?
Watchman, how much is left of the day? Watchman, how long is left of the night?
Risponde la sentinella.
The watchman responds, the morning comes, but it is still night.
Se volete domandare,
If you want to inquire,
chiedete,
ask.
tornate.
Come back and ask again.
Sentinel, how long until the day?
Watchman, how much of the night remains? Morning is coming, but it is still night. If you want to ask, ask. Come back and ask again.
Скільки триватиме війна?
A Ukrainian girl asks, how much is left of the war? When will the immense pain of our people and all warring countries end? When will the earth forget the art of war? When will we learn the art of hospitality for every man, woman, and child on earth?
Шомер
نگهبان تا کی باید منتظر بمانیم تا
Watchman, how long do we have to wait for the rights of women, girls, and children to be finally recognized in our country, Afghanistan, and in all the countries of the world? Morning is coming, but it is still night. If you want to ask, ask, come back, and ask again.
Quanto resta della notte che avvolge la nostra madre terra?
How much is left of the night that envelops our Mother Earth? Is there still time to save her? When will politics understand and change?
Sentinela, estamos esmagados.
Watchmen, we are crushed and humiliated. When will the rights of indigenous peoples and our diverse economies be recognized? When will our ancient and noble cultures be respected and perhaps imitated? This night has lasted for centuries. When will it end?
Viene la mattina.
Morning comes, and night also comes. If you want to question, question by all means. Come back another time.
Sentinella, combien de
Watchmen, how long must we wait for a more fraternal, inclusive, egalitarian economy? When will the economy that kills turn into the economy of life?
Sentinela, ¿cuándo será vencida?
Watchmen, when will misery be defeated? When will every girl and boy be able to grow up in a world that allows them to lead the life they wish to live? Morning comes, and night also comes. If you want to question, question by all means. Come back another time. Man is not his mistake. We have made a mistake, but we are also entitled to the future, to hope. How much longer? When will our work be recognized as real work? When will prisons become fully human places?
Shomer Mamilaila.
Il mattino.
Morning comes, but night also comes. If you want to ask, ask. Come back and ask again. Do not tire. I am the one who remains.
Le parole del profeta Isaia.
The words of the prophet Isaiah are a great teaching on prophecy, yesterday and today. This song is many things at once. It's the prayer of expectation and of hope in the time of night, of waiting and hoping for God, for a friend, for heaven, for justice, for peace. The prophet is the watchman of the night. He inhabits the night, like everyone, ignorant of the time of dawn. He knows the night. It is his time, and he does not give answers he cannot give. The prophet is he who remains. And he remains faithful in his place of night watch. And there he hopes. He waits. He believes. He does not know, like everyone, with everyone. But he dialogues with passers-by. He speaks with the wayfarers of the night, who ask, Shomer ma milaila, Watchman, how much is left of the night? And he answers, The morning comes, but it is still night. If you want to ask, ask, come back and ask again. He cannot give answers he does not have, but he does not refuse to listen to questions. He does not send away those who ask because he has no answers to give, but invites them to keep on asking, to return. So the prophet is the man and woman of the nighttime dialogue. He is the companion of the time of unanswered questions, and so of our time. He can only answer by giving his only two certainties, that it is still night and that the dawn will come. Prophetic hope does not deny the night and does not deny the dawn. Its fidelity to its vocation lies in knowing how to remain ignorant between night and dawn. Prophets love their time of dialoguing with those who ask in search of answers, without being able to answer. By being close to those who ask, by standing by and listening. The first Good Samaritan of the Bible, the first Good Samaritans of the Bible are the prophets who silently stoop to the victims of history. And as they inhabit this night of dialogue, the first glimmers of day began. There is no more beautiful dawn than the one that surprises us in the company of the prophets. And now we have the three presenters on stage. Julia is a young woman from Italy, Enrique from Portugal, and Lourdes, who is Spanish. The economy of Francis is a prophetic economy. It must be prophecy. Each one of us has felt called by a voice, and here we are today, faithful to the voice that has called us. In this time of changing epochs, we do not always have answers to give, but we can always listen to the questions of the young and of all those who ask for another world, another economy, the economy of Francis. We do not have answers to all the economic challenges of our time, but all in all, we can listen to the questions of our friends, the victims, the children, the earth, the least among us, people and realities that we wanted to symbolize in the passers-by with the lanterns in the musical presentation. The lantern is a small light, but sufficient to take the next step. So to those who ask for answers, we have the lantern to take the next step together which is the only step that counts because it is ours. To those who are looking for a new economy, we say, the morning comes, but it is still night. If you want, ask, come back, and ask again. Do not grow weary. I am he who remains. We are the women and men of listening and dialogue. Related to that same theme, we have an Italian song by Guccini, backed up by a couple of choirs, several voices from the group Niado. The song is Shomer Mamilaila.
Silenzio e l'aria calda porta il sapore di stelle assenzio. Le dita sfiorano le pietre calme, calde di un sole, memoria, un mito. Il buio ha preso con sé le palme, sembra che il giorno non sia esistito. Io la vedetta all'illuminato, guardiano eterno di non so cosa. Cerco innocente perché ho peccato, la luna ombrosa, e aspetto immobile che si spanda, l'onda di tuono che seguirà, il lampo secco di una domanda, la voce d'uomo che chiederà. Shomer Mamilaila, Shomer Mamilel, Shomer Mamilaila, Shomer Mamilel, Shomer Mamilaila, Shomer Mamilel, Shomer.
Sono da secoli, da un momento, fermo in un vuoto in cui tutto tace. Non so più dire da quanto sento angoscia o pace. Coi sensi tesi, fuori dal tempo, fuori dal mondo, sto ad aspettare che in un sussurro di voce o vento qualcuno venga per domandare.
E li avverto, radi come le dita, ma sento voci, sento un brusio e sento d'essere l'infinita eco di Dio. E dopo i numeri, come sabbia, ansiosa anonima, oscurità, ma voce sola di fede o rabbia, notturno grido che chiederà.
Shomer Mamilaila, Shomer Mamilaila, Shomer finire, ma il giorno ancora non è arrivato. Sembra che il vento nel suo bruire resti inchiodato.
Ma io vengo sempre, perciò insistete, voi lo potete di domandare. Tornate ancora se volete, non vi stancate.
Shomer Mamilaila, 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 Shomer Mamilaila. Sentinella, sentinella, dimmi, sentinella, sentinella, dimmi ora. Quando finisce la notte.
Ancora una volta Papa Francesco, benvenuto ad Assisi.
Dear Pope Francis, welcome to Assisi.
Ognuno di questi giovani è IOF.
Ti aspetto ad Assisi, ci avevi scritto. Hai mantenuto la tua promessa come solo gli amici
I will
veri
wait for you in Assisi, where you wrote to us. You kept your promise as only true friends know how to do.
tu per noi, Papa Francesco,
We knew it, we have always known it. You, for us, Pope Francis, are our father, but you are also our friend, in the meaning that this word has in the gospel.
abbiamo sentito molto vicino in
We have
questo
felt you
posto,
close
anni
in
di
these more than
lavoro
3 years,
a distanza e in presenza.
and we have waited so long for this meeting in person,
Siamo qui.
that today we wish time would slow down, so we could tell you about the dreams, the courage, the expectations, the work, the projects,
Le attese, i progetti, le idee di tutti
and
noi.
the ideas of all of us.
Siamo preparati?
We have prepared, we have prayed, and now we give thanks.
Veniamo da molti paesi, più di 100.
We come from many countries, more than 100, Malaysia, the United States, Mozambique, Cuba, Spain, and many others.
Veniamo da quei cantieri
We come from those building sites of
sole
hope
nostre università.
that are our universities, companies, organizations.
Veniamo dalle grandi
We come from the great metropolises of the world, from the suburbs, or from small towns.
Ci siamo messi in cammino
We set out
da soli
alone or in groups,
con amici e
with
colleghi.
friends and colleagues.
Abbiamo conosciuto Economia Francesco
We have known the economy of Francesco from the beginning, or some for only for a short time. We are young.
18 anni.
Some of us are not yet 18 years old, while others are here with their children.
Adesso hai appena visto un
Today,
del
Pope
lavoro
Francis,
di
is a
tutti
day
i
of celebration.
imprenditori e changemaker del mondo.
Joy and gratitude are the protagonists
Sono
with us
le
at this moment
domande
with
e le
you.
speranze che hanno raccontato. E lo hanno fatto sulle note dei NIADO, del gruppo internazionale NIADO, che sono da sempre membri attivi di Economia Francesco, con il contributo del coro Arteteca, che porta la musica nelle periferie.
And she's mentioning some of the groups that are helping with the music.
Del mondo coinvolge migliaia di giovani con il progetto Armonia tra i popoli, per costruire attraverso l'arte la cultura di pace. E tutto questo è stato diretto dalla regia di Maria Matacalò, che ringraziamo.
And thank you to the musicians and persons who have been helping with all of this.
Oggi, Papa Francesco, hai visto, è giorno di festa.
Today, Pope Francis, as you have seen,
Con noi di questo momento con te.
is a day of celebration. Joy and gratitude are the protagonists with us of this moment with you. Thank you for having believed in us.
È una bella scommessa, ha detto. Ti ringrazio anche, ti ringraziamo.
Thank you also for having called us to give a soul to the economy, for having indicated St. Francis as the example to look to in order to learn fraternity. Thank you for having reminded us that we are the present and not just the future. We are the present and not the future. A future that never arrives. And the Pope has a brief exchange with the presenters. And they've brought the Pope a microphone so he can repeat what he just said.
Io le dicevo che se non avete niente da dire, almeno
I have nothing to say.
che è molto importante.
I'm happy to be here. It's very important.
Grazie. Martin Luther King amava dire: "Se oggi
Martin Luther King was fond of saying, if they told me today that tomorrow is the end of the world, I would plant a tree. In this difficult time, you have planted a tree, and this tree is us. A tree that grows, while the forest falls. The economy needs to dare to make big changes and learn to value small things, small signs. It needs new words, soul, light. Some traces of this economy you'll find in the stories of 8 of our friends, and they're going to tell their stories. And before listening to their words, we want to tell you with this short video what we've experienced over these past 2 days. And there's a short 1-minute video of Assisi and the events of the economy of St. Francis, with the young people arriving in the city at the train station. And now we'll prepare to hear a number of testimonies of various participants in the Economy of Francis event in these past couple of days. Beginning with Serena, a PhD student in economics from Italy. I study economics at an aggregate level, the economic structure of states, their performance on markets. My gaze, therefore, is on the whole world, with its complexities, beauties, poverty. However, although the end of observations of my models is the state and nations, supranational institutions, my daily focus is on every man and woman in their entirety. I am an economist, yes, but an economist of Francis. Our meeting today is a great gift, the incarnated testimony to the fact that the economy is first and foremost a matter of human relations, and then of goods. It's a matter of people, then of goods. First of common goods, then of private goods. The profession I'm training for, in fact, consists of researching. Researching means looking again. What I try to do every day is precisely this. Never stop searching, never stop surprising myself, never stop loving the new that life offers me. Yes, we are young people, are inherently made this way. We have little past behind us and much future ahead of us. We are all so focused on the future that we see it already, here and now. And the path that had led me to pursue my studies with the doctorate, there were two very strong, almost disruptive moments. The publication of the encyclical Laudato Si and the letter of May 2018, in which you, Pope Francis, called us together to rethink the economy with the ultimate aim of putting our common home, which is falling into ruin, back on its feet. These words shook me like a branch in the tenacious wind of a good storm. They gave meaning to my choices. They unified my profession and my ethical choice. I felt them as a vocation, an unexpected call to which I responded with enthusiasm. Today I am aware that I belong to a broad process that I can share with other economists around the world. 3 more words. The first, perhaps obvious, is thank you. Thank you, because without the call of Economy of Francesco, I probably would not have pursued my studies with a PhD in economics. The second is more. Today I ask you, Pope Francis, to continue to look at us with confidence and hope. We are in immense need of someone who believes in us. And to all of us, I ask not to be content with what we have gathered so far, but to throw our nets into the sea again, and in spite of everything. We are still in the midst of many storms, but we are not alone. The third and final word is today. We cannot design the economy of the future without looking at the present. Over these years, I have tried to spend the skills I acquired at university, putting them at the service of the community in which I live, of my diocese, my country of origin. Above all, the poor can also be loved with intelligence. Here, my commitment starts from today, and here I commit myself to work with the rigor in mind and with the gaze of Francesco. To myself and to all of us, I ask that we begin again to look at our economy and the men and women who inhabit it, first of all with the look of fraternity. I ask this of you to remind me also to raise my eyes to heaven and say thank you to that God who desired me to become an economist of Francesco at the service of an economy that is an already that looks at the not yet of the world, so that the already of tomorrow may be that of Francesco. Henri Totin is Executive Director of YVEV from Benin. He's speaking in French. I'm a student with a passion for green and circular economies. For me, it all stems from a real difficulty and the will to transform a serious problem into an opportunity for the inhabitants of Dangbo in the Ouémé Valley. The water hyacinth is an aquatic plant that invades the surfaces of lakes and rivers, and particularly humid areas, where life takes place on the water. You have to cross waterways to move, circulate, fish, produce, live. The inhabitants have always fought against this invasive plant, but simply removing it was not a solution, as it spreads and strengthens, occupying the same areas and proliferating constantly. I was moved by a family tragedy, the death of a little brother due to the difficulty of traffic on the river, which delayed his arrival at the hospital. This made me aware of the problems caused by the invasion of the river by a plant species commonly called togle. Together with other young people in the village, we took this problem seriously. In 2009, I started researching how to turn this adverse circumstance, experienced by my parents' entire generation of farmers, into an opportunity for redemption, both in the agricultural and craft sectors. In 2015, the answer came, the transformation of hyacinth, skillfully mixed with other natural ingredients, into an almost magical compound, which on the one hand has the main objective of becoming an excellent fertilizer, and on the other hand, thanks to the fibers obtained from its decomposition, can also be transferred into objects of art, furniture, and personal accessories. A kind of poison transformed into what we now call green gold, an innovative approach that improves local life and makes family farming in the region evolve into something organized, resilient, and exemplary even for many territories with similar conditions. Now in these communities, as we're developing small businesses called cooperatives, oriented towards an inclusive and participatory economy that respects environmental principles and contributes to social equity. The activities developed revolve around the valorization, the appreciation of this invasive plant, the water hyacinth, into organic compost, art objects, organic carbon, absorbent fiber, and biogas. In addition to the production part, with a view to sustainability, the NGO Je Vive today completed its project to create the Compost Promotion Center in Dangbo. Agricultural innovations based on ancestral knowledge that is often neglected offer opportunities to young green entrepreneurs in French-speaking Africa. We promote entrepreneurship whose services limit greenhouse gas emissions, minimize pollution, and save resources with a local impact. Personally, I must say that the ecological biodiversity that characterizes my parents' country has always attracted me. Now we are planning to build a center to promote the values of the economy of Francis for people with disabilities and in isolation from economic activities. Let us dare and innovate around the economy of Francesco and have the will to counter the damage caused by global warming, focusing on the environmental, social, and economic development of the world. Facundo Pescuto is from Argentina and presents the CNSIS project. The CNSIS project was born from the call of Your Holiness to rethink an economy with a human face, which challenges us and mobilizes us to multiply his proposals. The great meeting in Assisi is a turning point from which to rethink what kind of economy we want for ourselves and the generations to come.
En sociedades de fomento, clubes de barrio, sindicatos, universidades, cooperativas, comedores comunitarios, unidades penitenciarias y pequeñas y medianas.
The project is twofold. On the one hand, we provide academic tools, professional training, legal and accounting advice to various institutions, and on the other hand, we hold an Assisi in each of them.
Y por otro lado, celebramos un pequeño Asís en cada una de estas instituciones.
How are the 100 Assisis structured? In each meeting, we try to bring together representatives from all sectors, trade unions, workers in the popular economy, entrepreneurs, church representatives, neighbors, and other social actors. The aim is to encourage dialogue between the different actors. Often due to the fast pace of everyday life, the actors of a small community do not know each other, and this is a good reason to start a dialogue that lasts over time. We approach the meeting from the concept of the polyhedron, where the parties come together, but without losing their own particularity. What is the result of the 100 Assisis? On the one hand, it generates systems of relationships between the actors in the community that either did not exist or needed to be strengthened. On the other hand, at each meeting we commit ourselves to address a problem, and from there we work together to mitigate this problem. It can be environmental, labor, professional training, among others. Thirdly, we discuss these issues from the perspective that Francesco teaches us.
Y en tercer lugar, discutimos estos temas desde la mirada que nos enseña Francisco. Disparadores como la necesidad de fomentar la...
Finally, I'd like to share what the economy of Francesco represented for the birth of our project. In the economy of Francis, we found the way to put into practice the words of His Holiness, the hope of knowing that there are many of us who prioritize unity over conflict and the common good as the driving force for change towards integral development.
La economía de Francisco. En Economía de Francisco encontramos el camino para poner en práctica la palabra de su santidad, la esperanza de saber que somos muchos quienes priorizamos la unidad por sobre el conflicto y el bien común como motor de cambio hacia un desarrollo integral. Gracias, Papa Francisco, por recuperarnos la esperanza. Gracias.
And now we'll hear from Lily Raylan Setitinarsan, an environmental activist from Thailand. She will be speaking in English.
Hello everyone, esteemed guests, fellow speakers, Pope Francis. It is an honor to be here today and to be the youngest speaker at this event. My name is Lily Latlin Sititanasan, and I am a Thai youth environmental activist. I have met with multiple government ministries, people in power, and retailing companies in order to fight for climate justice. However, I am first and foremost a member of the youth, and I am fighting for my future. I had started my activism by the time I was 8, and I also saw the effects of climate change and pollution by the time I was 8. I saw single-use plastic scattered on the floor, and my world that I love so dearly being destroyed. No child should have to be exposed to the harsh realities of the world and told that they are too young to make a difference. At that time, I didn't plan on becoming an activist. I only wanted to do what was right. I pushed forward in finding a sustainable change and started in my local communities, talking to my friends and family about reducing single-use plastics. I felt a responsibility to do the right thing. To me, even as a child, this was the right thing to do. Then I realized that change could not be made individually. I had to reach out for help, look at my communities to do the right thing. I called local government and told them the harm of single-use plastics and my intention to stop them. Even if I wrote letters to the government or companies, I would get a reply back telling me that I should continue with my studies and focus on being a normal kid. But to me, being a normal kid was to have morals and to fight for them, to have a community like the economy of Francesco, and to be able to live it and love it. I took this as a sign to push harder. I couldn't give up. It would feel like a disservice to everyone who had supported me, and most importantly, the environment and generation I was trying to fight for. As a youth, they didn't take my concerns seriously. But after many meetings and presentations with both the Ministry of Natural Resources in my country and large retailing companies, we started to push forward a sustainable solution. And at the start of 2020, they issued a nationwide single-use plastic bag ban in 70+ major retailers. This is one of my successes. I have been an activist for almost half my life, and throughout that time, I had learned that every environmental issue will affect everyone. We all live on this earth together. We live under one sun. Therefore, we have an equal responsibility to protect the world and home we have, to work together and not against each other. The economy of Francesco is a perfect example of this. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to speak and share my story to Pope Francis, and thank him for paving the way for young people like me and inspire me and share our voices to be heard for the better. They inspired me and pushed me for change. Just by being here today, I feel the collective support and empowerment of everyone in this room trying to push for an equal, sustainable solution and fighting for a difference. I feel heard and understood. I would like to thank you for all the participants and speakers today for that. Today is an example of what could be done when coming together in a community like this, how everyone in this room has the right for their voices to be heard, just like mine. Thank you so much.
That was Lily from Thailand. We're also now going to hear a brief musical interlude.
All I wanted was to keep away from their trouble. God bless the man that gives. What you see is a life if it's only half lived. Would you cry with me now if I say that I could win? Should I let this all until the truth can begin? Whoa. Won't these people just let me live? I got too much in this life to give, and I'm not waiting for no one. I'm gonna make my own way. I'm gonna wake up to a new day, whatever the price I'll pay. Ooh, I'm gonna wake up to a new day. I'm gonna wake up to a new day. Oh, I'm gonna wake up to a new day. I'm gonna wake up to a new day. Matata mingi, kujiamini bila hata shilingi. How do you start the journey of a million steps? How do you swim to the top when you know you're drowning in the depths? And no, I do this for my daughter, and I refuse to let this all just end here in the water. Leave it all behind and just float. Freedom is harder to live than I hope, yeah. Won't these people just let me live? Ooh, I got too much in this life to give, and I'm not waiting for no one. I'm gonna make my own way. I'm gonna wake up to a new day, whatever the price I'll pay. Ooh, I'm gonna wake up to a new day. Oh, I'm gonna wake up to a new day. Oh, I'm gonna wake up to a new day. I'm gonna wake up to a new day, saying I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna wake up to a new day. I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna wake up. Whoa, I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna wake up to a new day. I'm gonna wake up. I am. 'Cause rise and fall round and round. I'm gonna raise my feet off the ground, and here we go, round and round. I'm gonna raise my feet off the ground.
Our next speaker is economist Samuel Lekato from Kenya.
I'm a son of nomad with big dreams. I'm a fresh graduate from the university with a bachelor degrees in economic and statistics. I started my career journey as a nursery school teacher. I used to volunteer in a Maasai village. I ran community services, creating awareness on environment, a conservationist, and a community educator. This is the burden and the trust that I carry for my community. The internet makes the world a small place. For me to know EOF, I knew it through a friend who told me that this will be an eye-opener, self-development, and service to others. This made me realize myself spiritually and also to service to others. This is the great team of EOF received me warmly. I was mentored career-wise. And also psychologically. I've made friends, mentors within the team. With the team, we did such a great and noble job that we did. We drafted a drought plan that was to end a long way to help the community and the less disadvantaged. During this prolonged drought, we've seen tremendous activities we have done with the great team and the village of life and lifestyle. Thank you so much. If I had the whole day, I could not enumerate the big things that they done for me as a person in the big community. I really lack words to say. In this world, we are preaching the gospel of climate action. Climate action, inequality in everything. The sustainable development goals we are preaching. Brethren, and the society that the Saint and the Martin Luther King preached for is what I received. The love that appreciates diversity. We need a green globe and a clean environment. Climate change remains a big crisis in the world. I'm a victim of climate change. We suffer droughts every now and then. I'm a victim of drought. But what we can do, plant a tree, save the future. Asante.
Grazie di avermi dato la possibilità di raccontare la mia
Now we
storia.
hear from a women's rights activist from Afghanistan who greeted us in Italian. Thank you for having given me the possibility of telling my story here. And now it's continuing in Persian. I am an Afghan woman. I was a teacher and a women's rights activist in my own country. In carrying out my work, I faced many obstacles and threats, but I never gave up because I believed in what I was doing. The lives of Afghan women had really changed. There was significant progress in the political and social fields. But with the Taliban in government, I saw the results of 20 years of hard work nullified. Tyranny, unemployment, poverty now reign in Afghanistan. Women are no longer free. They cannot study or work. Those who demonstrate for rights are brutally repressed. Even just listening to music in one's car is reason to be killed. When the Taliban came, we women decided not to accept these impositions. We'd always defended civil rights and could not compromise. We demonstrated and fought in many ways, but the results were only threats, beatings, kidnappings, torture, and even the death of some activists. My husband had also participated in some demonstrations against the new regime. His job was given to a Taliban member, and our house was burnt down. On August 26, 2021, we were scheduled for a flight to the United States, but the bomb explosions made it impossible to get to the airport. Then the departure blockade forced us to stay in Afghanistan. I was desperate. An international women's rights organization could not help us. Others wrote to me that we could not get a visa from the US or Australia for some years. But we could not wait. We were homeless, jobless, and the Taliban were looking for us. So I decided to ask for help from a list of over 100 contacts unknown to me that had been provided to me, but no one answered. Until, it was October 5th, I received an email from Economy of Francis. Economy of Francesco. Dearest Miriam, thank you for your email. We were very impressed by your message. We have shared it with a group of lawyers here in Italy who are working to give you concrete answers. I cannot explain how much strength and hope I received from those words. I didn't know Economy of Francesco, and I didn't know that at that time he had organized demonstrations all over the world in support of Afghan women. But I know that thanks to them, my husband and I landed in Italy last April. We've already received refugee status, and we hope that soon our families, who are unfortunately still in Afghanistan, will also be able to arrive.
ما آن را با گروه از وکلا در اینجا در ایتالیا به اشتراک میگذاریم تا اونها در تلاش هستند تا پاسخهای مشخصی برای شما بدهند. چطور هستید؟ ماریا. نمیتوانم توضیح دهم که چقدر از آن حرفها نیرو گرفتم و چقدر امیدوار و خوشحال شدم. من اقتصاد فرانچسکو را نمیشناختم و نمیدانستم که در آن زمان رویدادهای در حمایت از زنان افغانستان در سراسر جهان تشکیل داده بود. اما میدانم که به لطف آنها من و شوهرم اپریل گذشته وارد ایتالیا شدیم. ما قبلا وضعیت پناهندگی را دریافت کرده ایم و امیدوار هستیم که خانواده های ما که متاسفانه هنوز در افغانستان هستند به زودی بیایند. Ora sto studiando l'italiano e vorrei riprendere presto il mio impegno a favore delle donne. Grazie Papa Francesco, grazie Economy of Francesco.
Dear Holy Father, Papa Francesco, my name is Mateusz Ciasnocha. I am a farmer from Poland and a member of Agriculture and Justice Village of Economy of Francesco. I am standing in front of you not to share my personal story, but to share the story of we, the story of the Farm of Francesco with you. The Farm of Francesco is a business that was born out of the Economy of Francesco, created by some of us who are here, Maria Virginia from Argentina, Natalie from Colombia, and others who are not with us physically here in Assisi, like Fede from Italy, Giacomo from Italy, Joseph from China, Rita from Nigeria, Janet from Mexico, and many, many others who supported us on our journey. Bravo. We, the Farm of Francesco, is on a mission of connecting two words, agriculture and justice, that initially brought our team together following your 2019 invitation. When I think about the Farm of Francesco, I see faces of people and processes. Firstly, I see a group of young people who responded to your call. Secondly, I see us taking action, self-organizing since May 2020 onwards, leaving our desire to act together in the face of global injustices, with very real local consequences, rooted in the original vocation of being co-gardeners with God in the Garden of Eden. I see us, with the help of the Holy Spirit, turning from being a group of people to a community with capital C, deciding to act. I see us offering countless hours of our free time, working on bringing the knowledge of regenerative agriculture to rural communities, youth in particular, and simultaneously engaging with formal policy processes, namely the COP26, the United Nations Food System Summit, and the Committee for Food Security, to bring the voices of those who do not have the voice into those processes. We are aware that this decade of action really matters. We, the youth of the Farm of Francesco, are the prophets of change. We know growing the critical mass for changing our food systems through developing fraternal economy is critically important. This is why we continue taking action, specifically in Nigeria, where we first created a new demo farm currently run by our team member Rita, and now, in a partnership with a local team, we are implementing a project of supporting and enhancing business resilience of farmers located in 5 villages in Archdiocese of Ibadan, thanks to the financial investment received from the Carlo Acutis and San Francis Award. As protagonists of the future we want to see, which involves Catholics and non-Catholics alike, we believe concrete actions on the ground can lead to systemic changes. This is why, with youthful joy, our team continues to engage in a series of advocacy activities, including the COP27 in partnership with Scholas Occurrentes, and the Laudato Si Action Platform, which the Farm of Francesco actively supports. We know you, Holy Father, together with the Holy See and all the dicasteries of the Vatican Curia, do daily what is right for us to build, not only to talk about. The fraternal world with the poor and the earth at the center. Therefore, we ask you, the Holy Father, to continue using your influence, voice, and most of all example in strengthening the accessibility and opportunity for the youth to be prophets of fraternism. We dream and want to continue putting our dreams into action. Please rest assured that the farm of Francesco and the farmers of the world, young farmers in particular, are willing and ready to continue actively support yours and the Holy See's engagement in international processes, as well as strengthening bottom-up fraternal actions across the world. As we, the farm of Francesco, is a business born within the economy of Francesco, I would like to end in a business way, asking for a blessing of our work and a follow-up meeting between us and you. We thank you for your leadership in action. We pray for you, and we ask you to pray for us.
Finally, we will hear from Andrea from Italy. My name is Andrea. I have been a prisoner for more than 9 years. These have been years in which I have suffered a lot, but also time in which I have changed profoundly. In fact, during this time, I have been able to reflect on the true meaning of life and the most important values that could characterize it. Unfortunately, I took the life of a man during an ugly and senseless fight, and I will always carry this burden in my heart. I pray for his soul. From day one, I have tried to approach my time in prison in the most constructive way possible, taking responsibility and trying to turn this time into an opportunity for growth. Initially, I thought to myself, I felt the need to understand what had taken me this far, what brought me here. I need to find my balance in the right path. Fortunately, I was not alone, and thanks to the support of workers, volunteers, and friends, I found the courage to believe in a new future. I was able to resume my studies, and after graduating as an agricultural technician, I am now enrolled in the State University of Milan in the Faculty of Physics. Each exam is a huge challenge, a mountain to be climbed, often alone, but every time I pass one and turn around, I see a bigger and bigger panorama. It's beautiful. I am among the lucky ones serving their sentence in Bollate prison, an excellent facility in which it is possible to face a concrete rehabilitation path full of opportunities. If I may, on behalf of everyone, I invite you to visit us. We would be truly honored. For the past year and a half, I've had the privilege of working for a cooperative, a reality I never thought I would find in a penal institution, a special working environment, a place where one loses the perception of prison, an environment where the human being can truly flourish. Today I want to talk to you about work, Pope Francis. I know that it is very close to your heart. Work restores dignity, and in our cooperative, each individual, through commitment, perseverance, seriousness, and hard work, can experience the true meaning of social inclusion. I personally work in digital marketing, and thanks to the support of the cooperative, I was able to learn a new trade from scratch. Through a lot of training, I now have a job that allows me to think and believe in a different and concrete future. In prison, there are generally not many opportunities to work and connect with the outside world, but here we manage many orders and are in close contact on a daily basis with companies that have decided to believe in this important reintegration project. We feel great responsibility and hope we can contribute to creating a prison where you come out better than you went in.
La nostra attività.
Our activity Our activity allows us to share with society the importance of work paths in prison and their great impact on the outside world. People who make mistakes are right to end up in prison, but we must understand that they can only fulfill their true potential if they are put in the right conditions. Man is greater than his mistakes. Every human being has great potential. It just has to be discovered. I myself did not even believe this, and it was thanks to the people who supported me that I am here today to give my testimony. I am not an economist, but it seems quite logical to me that prison, in order to become a good investment for society, must achieve concrete results, and these are basically two: security and zero recidivism. People coming out of prison must be changed and transformed from a cost item into a resource for society. A person who understands his mistake is more unlikely to make the mistake again, and society, in my opinion, has a duty to reflect on this important aspect of correction. With my presence here today, I would like, as someone said, to give a voice to those who have no voice. I'd like to put my face, my voice, my heart, and be spokesperson for all these fellow prisoners who are currently lying in a cell, on a cot, weakened in body, annihilated in spirit. I'd like to be here also, and above all, for those who no longer see a horizon ahead of them, unable to give meaning and flavor to their lives. And today I ask myself, does the world have ears to hear our voice, to hear our cry? Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the management of Balate Prison and the magistrate of the Milan Court of Surveillance, Dr. Luerti, who allowed me to be here. I'd also like to thank you, Pope Francis, for the hope that you give us daily through your words, for the dignity that you give us, I am an injured young man, but I'm also a young man of Francis, of Francesco. At the beginning of my imprisonment in 2013, I wrote you a letter asking for forgiveness for what I had done, and unexpectedly received a response in no time. It's thanks to that forgiveness that my life was able to begin again, and today I'm here with these 1,000 companions on the path of resurrection on this earth, which continues. Thank you very much. And now we will hear the words of Pope Francis.
Papa Francesco, ognuna di queste storie rappresenta The Economy of Francesco e guarda quante altre ne potremo raccontare. Ma adesso vogliamo ascoltare le tue parole.
Carissime e carissimi giovani, buongiorno.
Very dear young people, good morning.
Saluto tutti voi.
I greet all of you who have come here, who've had the opportunity to be here. But also I want to greet all of those who are not able to come here, who remained at home. We are united, all of us. They're in their own place, and we here. I've waited more than 3 years for this moment, since May 1st, 2019, when I wrote you the letter that called and then brought you here to Assisi. For many of you, as we've just heard, the encounter with the economy of Francesco awakened something that was already within you. You were already committed to creating a new economy. My letter brought you together, gave you a broader horizon, and made you feel part of a worldwide community of young people who have the same vocation. When a young person sees another young person, the same calling, and this experience is repeated with hundreds, even thousands of other young people, then great things become possible. Even the hope of changing an enormous and complex system like the world economy. Today the economy seems old. We speak of finance, but it's a very vague concept to lay hold of.
L'esperienza di un incontro fra economia, umanesimo e religione.
A good economist spoke about the encounter between economy, finance, and humanity and fraternity. Instead of this gaseous idea of finances, we have to take the economy back to its roots, to the work of human beings.
Voi giovani, con l'aiuto di Dio lo sapete fare, lo potete fare. I giovani hanno fatto altre volte nel corso della storia tante cose. State vivendo la vostra giovinezza in
You young people, with the help of God, know what to do, and you can do it. Young people have done this before in the course of history. You're living your youth in a time that is not easy. The environmental crisis, then the pandemic, now the war in Ukraine, and the other wars which have continued for years in various countries have marked your lives. Our generation has left you with a rich heritage, but we have not known how to protect the planet, and we are not securing peace.
I pescatori qui di San Benedetto del Tronto in un anno hanno tirato fuori dal mare 12 tonnellate di sporcizia e plastica e cose così. Vedete come non sappiamo custodire l'ambiente, no? E noi custodiamo la pace pure. Voi siete chiamati a diventare.
You are called to become artisans and builders of our common home, a common home that is falling into ruin. We'd say that it's so today. A new economy inspired by Francis of Assisi can and must become an economy of friendship with the earth and an economy of peace. It is a question of transforming an economy that kills into an economy of life in all its aspects, to arrive at that good living that is not the le dolce vitae, but is instead a healthy relationship with one another and the earth.
Ho apprezzato la vostra scelta di modellare questo incontro.
I admire your decision to model this gathering in Assisi on prophecy.
Mi è piaciuto quello che avete detto sulle profezie. La vita di Francesco di Assisi dopo la sua
Francis of Assisi's life after his conversion was prophecy that continues also into our times. In the Bible, prophecy is very much connected with young people. Samuel was called as a boy. Jeremiah and Ezekiel were young. Daniel was a youth when he prophesied the innocence of Susanna and saved her from death. And the prophet Joel announced to the people that God would send his Spirit, and their sons and daughters would prophesy. According to Scripture, young people are the bearers of a spirit of knowledge and intelligence. It was the young David who humbled the arrogance of the giant Goliath. Indeed, when civil society and businesses lack the skills of the young, the whole of society withers, and the life of everyone is extinguished. There is a lack of creativity, a lack of optimism, a lack of enthusiasm, a lack of courage to take risks. A society and an economy without young people is sad, pessimistic, cynical.
Andate a queste università ultra specializzate nell'economia liberale E guardate la faccia dei giovani e le giovani che studiano lì. Ma grazie a Dio, voi ci
But thanks to God that you are here. Not only will you be there tomorrow, but you are here today. You are not just the not yet, you are also the already here. You are the present. An economy that inspires us with prophetic dimension is expressed today in a new vision of the environment and the earth. We have to have this harmony between the earth and the economy. There are many people, businesses, and institutions that are making an ecological conversion. We need to go forward on this road and do more. You are doing more and asking everyone to do this more. It's not enough to make cosmetic changes. We need to discuss models of development. The situation is such that we cannot just wait until the next international summit. The earth is burning today, and today we must change at all levels. In this last year, we have worked on the economy of plants, an innovative topic. You have seen that the plant paradigm contains a different approach to the earth and the environment. Plants cooperate with their whole environmental surroundings. And even when they compete, they actually are cooperating for the good of the ecosystem. Let us learn from the meekness of plants. Their humility and their silence can offer us a different approach, which we urgently need. For if we speak of ecological transition, but remain in the economic paradigm of the 20th century, which plundered the earth and its natural resources, then the strategies we adopt will always be insufficient or sick. The Bible is full of images of trees and plants, from the tree of life to the mustard seed. And St. Francis helps us with his universal fraternity with all living creatures. We human beings in these last 2 centuries have grown at the expense of the earth. We have often plundered in order to increase our own well-being, and not even the well-being of all. Now is the time for new courage in abandoning fossil fuels to accelerate the development of zero or positive impact sources of energy.
Non mi sono fermato per cercare l'applauso, che avevo bisogno di respirare, no?
I have to pause for a moment for the applause because it gives me a chance to breathe. And then we must also accept the universal ethical principle, however unpopular, that damages must be repaired. This is a universal ethical principle. Damages must be repaired. If we grew up abusing the planet and the atmosphere, today we must learn to make sacrifices in lifestyles that remain unsustainable. Otherwise, our children and grandchildren will pay the price, a price that will be too high and too unjust. Quick.
6 mesi fa, che ha detto: ieri mi è nata una nipotina, se continuiamo così, poveretta, entro 30 anni dovrà vivere in un mondo inabitabile. Saranno i figli e i nipoti a pagare il conto, un conto che sarà troppo alto e troppo ingiusto. Occorre un cambiamento rapido e deciso.
Quick and decisive change is needed.
Questo lo dico sul serio.
I say this very seriously. I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you.
Per favore,
please,
non lasciateci tranquilli.
Don't be afraid to bother us. Be an example for us.
Io vi dico la verità, per vivere su questa strada
I'll say to take this path it requires courage.
qualche pizzico di eroicità. Ho sentito in un incontro un
I
ragazzo
felt in an encounter with a young person some time ago.
uscito come ingegnere di alto livello, non trovava lavoro, alla fine l'ha trovato in un'industria che non sapeva bene cosa fosse. Quando ha studiato cosa doveva fare, senza lavoro e con bisogno di lavorare, ha rifiutato, perché lì si fabbricavano le armi. Questi sono gli eroi di oggi, questi. La sostenibilità poi è una parola a più.
Sustainability, then, is a multidimensional reality. Sustainability. Aside from the environmental, there are also social, relational, and spiritual dimensions. The social aspect is slowly beginning to be recognized. We are realizing that the cry of the poor and the cry of the earth are the same cry. So when we work for ecological transformation, we must keep in mind the effects that some environmental choices have on poverty. Not all environmental solutions have the same effects on the poorest, and therefore those that reduce misery and inequality should be preferred. As we seek to save the planet, we must not neglect the women and men who suffer. Carbon dioxide is not the only pollution that kills. Inequality also fatally damages our planet. We cannot allow the new environmental calamities to erase from public view the long-standing and ever-present calamities of social injustice. Also, political injustice. I think, for example, this poor martyred people of the Rohingya. He describes that as an example of political injustice, and continues, then there is the unsustainability of our relationships. In many countries, relationships between people are becoming impoverished. Especially in the West, communities are becoming increasingly fragile and fragmented. The family, and with it the acceptance and protection of life, is suffering a serious crisis in some regions of the world. Current consumerism seeks to fill the void of human relationships with ever more sophisticated commodities. Loneliness is a big business in our time. But in this way, it generates a famine of happiness. And this is an ugly thing. Think about the demographic winter. When countries are being diminished because they're not having children, because it's more convenient to have a relationship with a dog or a cat and go on like that. It takes creativity. Along the same line of the demographic winter,
perché appena incomincia a salire la pancia la buttano da lavoro, le donne incinte non hanno da lavorare.
It speaks about pregnant women.
C'è infine una insostenibilità spirituale del nostro capitalismo.
Finally, there's a spiritual unsustainability to our capitalism. Human beings created in the image and likeness of God are seekers of meaning before being seekers of material goods. We are all seekers of meaning. That is why the first capital of any society is a spiritual capital. For this is what gives us a reason to get up every morning and go to work, and engenders the joy of living that is also necessary for the economy. Our world is quickly consuming this essential kind of capital, accumulated over centuries by religions, wise traditions, and popular piety. And so young people especially suffer from this lack of meaning. Faced with the pain and uncertainties of life, they often find their souls depleted, impoverished of the spiritual resources needed to process suffering, frustration, disappointment, and grief.
Come è salito, e non pubblicano tutti, nascondono la cifra. The
fragility of many young people comes from a lack of this precious spiritual capital. An invisible but more real capital than financial or technological capital. We urgently need to rebuild this essential spiritual patrimony. Technology can do so much. It can do a lot. It teaches us the what and the how to do something, but it does not tell us the why. And so our actions become sterile and do not bring fulfillment to life, not even economic life. Finding myself in the city of Francis, I cannot help but speak about poverty. Developing an economy inspired by St. Francis means committing ourselves to putting the poor at the center. Starting with them, we look at the economy. Starting with them, we look at the world. There is no economy of Francesco without respect, care, and love for the poor, for every poor person, for every fragile and vulnerable person, from conception in the womb to the sick person with disabilities to the elderly person in difficulty. There is no economy of Francesco without this. I would go even further. An economy of Francesco must not limit itself to working for or with the poor. As long as our system produces discarded people and we operate according to this system, we will be accomplices of an economy that kills. Let us ask ourselves then, are we doing enough to change this economy, or are we content with painting a house in order to change its color without changing the structure of the house? It doesn't mean just changing the outside, it means changing the structure. Perhaps our response should not be based on how much we can do, but on how we are able to open new paths so that the poor themselves can become protagonists of change.
In India, in Filippine, in questo senso molto grande, molto sviluppate.
St. Francis loved not only the poor, he loved poverty itself. This way of living, it's called austere. Francis went to lepers, not so much to love them, but because he wanted to become poor like them. Following Jesus Christ, he stripped himself of everything to become poor with the poor. Indeed, the first market economy was born in the 13th century in Europe through daily contact with Franciscan friars, who were friends of the first merchants. That economy certainly created wealth, but it did not despise poverty. Our capitalism, on the other hand, wants to help the poor, but does not respect them. It does not understand the paradox in the Beatitude, blessed are the poor. We don't have to love misery. On the contrary, we need to combat it, above all by creating work, dignified work. The Gospel tells us however, that without respect for the poor, we cannot combat wretchedness. It's from here that all of us need to begin, including entrepreneurs and economists, living the evangelical paradoxes of Francesco.
sempre, lei dà elemosina ai poveri? Sì, sì. E quando lei dà elemosina al povero, li guarda agli occhi? Non so. E quando tu dai l'elemosina, tu butta la moneta o tocca la mano dei poveri? Non guardano gli occhi e non buttano. E questo è allontanarsi dello spirito di povertà, allontanarsi dalla vera realtà del povero, allontanarsi dell'umanità che deve avere ogni rapporto umano. E qualcuno mi dirà, Papa, siamo in ritardo, quando finisce?
You're wondering, when am I going to finish? In light of this reflection, I'd like to leave you with 3 indications. Indications of the path of all. The first is to look at the world with the eyes of the poorest of the poor. In the medieval period, the Franciscan movement was able to create the first economic theories and even the first banks for those in need, the so-called Monte di Pietà, because it looked at the world with the eyes of the poorest of the poor. You too will improve the economy if you look at things from the perspective of victims and of the discarded. In order to have the eyes of the poor and victims, however, it's necessary to get to know them, to be their friends. And believe me, if you become friends of the poor, you will share their life. You will have a share in the kingdom of God, because Jesus said that to these belong the kingdom of God. For this reason they are blessed. I will say it again. May your daily choices not produce discarded people. The second indication, you are mostly students, scholars, and entrepreneurs, but do not forget about work. Do not forget about workers. Working with your hands. Those who work with their hands. Work is already the challenge of our time. It will be all the more the challenge of tomorrow. Without dignified work and just remuneration, young people will not truly become adults, and inequality will increase. It's possible at times for a person to survive without work, but he or she is not able to live well. So while you create goods and services, do not forget to create work, good work, and work for everyone. The third signpost is incarnation. In the crucial moments of history, those who left a good mark were able to do so because they translated ideals, desires, and values into concrete actions. In addition to writing and organizing conferences, these women and men established schools and universities, banks, trade unions, associations, and institutions. You will change the economic world if you use your hands together with your heart and your head. You think with your head, the language of thoughts, but not only. It has to enter into your hearts and your feelings, and not only that, it has to be expressed with your hands. Think about something, feel it, and then do it. Ideas are necessary. They attract us, especially young people, but they can turn into traps if they do not become flesh. In other words, something concrete, a daily commitment. Ideas by themselves are weak. Ideas are necessary. The Church has always rejected the Gnostic temptation, focuses solely on ideas, of thinking that the world changes only through different knowledge, without the effort of the flesh. Actions are less luminous than great ideas because they are concrete, particular, limited, with light and shadow together, but they fertilize the ground day after day, for reality is greater than an idea. Young people, men and women, remember that reality is always greater than ideas. Dear brothers and sisters, I thank you for your efforts. Thank you. Go forward together with the inspiration and intercession of St. Francis. And if you agree, I would like to conclude with a prayer. And you can follow along as I offer this prayer. Father, we ask forgiveness for having damaged the earth, for not having respected indigenous cultures, for not having valued and loved the poorest of the poor, for having created wealth without communion. Living God, who with your Spirit has inspired the hearts, hands, and minds of these young people and sent them on the way to a promised land, look kindly on their generosity, their love, and their desire to spend their lives for a great ideal. Bless them in their undertakings, their studies, and their dreams. Accompany them in their difficulties and sufferings. Help them to transform their difficulties and sufferings into virtue and wisdom. Support their longing for the good and for life. Lift them up when facing disappointments due to bad examples. Do not let them become discouraged, but instead may they continue on their path. You, whose only begotten Son became a carpenter, grant them the joy of transforming the world with love, ingenuity, and with their hands. Amen. And thank you so much. That was the discourse of Pope Francis. And we will have the full text available on our website later this morning.
Grazie. Grazie.
Soy el senador que en Brasil presentó la ley aprobada de la renta básica universal.
Grazie.
Habla también en su libro Vamos a soñar juntos.
Grazie tanto, grazie. Ma tu mi porti i libri, mi porta il mate, ma non porti la caciassa.
And the Pope is being offered a number of gifts.
Grazie. Grazie Papa Francesco per queste bellissime parole che sono per noi una mappa per il futuro. Grazie per queste parole Papa Francesco che sono una mappa.
And thank you for your words, Pope Francis, which for us are a map of the future that awaits us in the program for a new life. We want to be a living echo of your words. We have another young person coming up and getting a selfie with the Pope.
Ora vogliamo continuare con questo momento che abbiamo aspettato anche, che è il momento del patto, per cui ci siamo preparati.
And now we are...
Voglio dire, Papa Francesco, così come lo hai detto tu, noi ci stiamo. Grazie di queste parole. Grazie davvero.
We're here now. We're going to have the time for the signing of the covenant.
Grazie.
Ok, adesso vogliamo andare e fare questo patto per cui ci siamo preparati e vogliamo leggere questo patto di Assisi 2020-2022.
Now they're reading the covenant.
Noi, giovani, economisti,
That will be signed by Pope Francis and by Lily. We, young economists, entrepreneurs, and changemakers, called here to Assisi from every part of the world, aware of the responsibility rests on our generation, commit ourselves today, individually and all collectively, to spending our lives so that the economy of today and tomorrow becomes an economy of the gospel. And so, an economy of peace and not of war. An economy that opposes the proliferation of arms, especially an economy that cares for creation, does not misuse it, an economy at the service of the human person, a family and life respectful of every woman, man, and child, the elderly, and especially those most frail and vulnerable, an economy where care replaces rejection and indifference, an economy that leaves no one behind, in order to build a society in which the stones rejected by the dominant mentality become cornerstones. An economy that recognizes and protects secure and dignified work for everyone, in particular for women. An economy where finance is a friend and ally of the real economy and not against it. An economy that values and safeguards the cultures and traditions of all peoples, all living things, and natural resources of the earth. An economy that fights misery in all its forms, reduces inequality, and knows how to say with Jesus and Francis, "Blessed are the poor." An economy guided by an ethics of the human person and open to transcendence. An economy that creates wealth for all, that engenders joy and not just riches, because happiness that is not shared is not enough. We believe in this economy. It's not a utopia, because we are already building it. And some of us, on particularly bright mornings, have already glimpsed the beginning of the promised land. From Assisi, September 24, 2022, signed by the economists, entrepreneurs, changemakers, students, and workers.
Adesso Papa Francesco e Lili, che è una delle più giovani delle ragazze, firmeranno il patto che abbiamo appena letto.
And the covenant is signed by Pope Francis and Lily from Thailand, as mentioned, one of the youngest people at this event. And the Pope is gifted a pen that's used for the signing. And the presenters are now given the opportunity to go up and shake hands with the Holy Father. And those on the stage are getting a chance to shake hands with the Pope and receiving a rosary to commemorate the event, having a chance to speak a little bit with the Holy Father and say a few words, exchange with him. In the meantime, we have a musical greeting. That is going to conclude this event. So the Holy Father, again, exchanging a few words with the various people involved in the event, especially the speakers, performers, the presenters, as the Economy of Francesco event for 2022. This gathering here in the city of Assisi, in the city of St. Francis, concludes this morning. On behalf of Vatican Radio, I would like to thank all of our partners who help make these live broadcasts possible. In particular, this morning, I'd like to thank Salt and Light TV, Catholic Faith Network, EWTN TV, Atmadarshan TV, and Luminous Radio, as well as Radio Luce, Radio Maria, and We Are One Body Radio. Thanks to all of our technicians who are in charge of the technological side of these broadcasts. We are very, very grateful for them, and to our producers who help orchestrate these productions. Thanks to, and finally, to all of you for joining us today for full coverage of the economy of Francis, with reports from Assisi and interviews with participants, as well as other news from the Vatican and around the world. We do invite you to visit our Vatican News web portal. You can also check out our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube accounts. My name is Christopher Wells. It's been a great pleasure providing coverage of the Pope's meeting with the economy of Francesco. Today, September 24th, 2022. We conclude, as always, praise be Jesus Christ. Laudetur Jesus Christus.
Take it for granted as if it was planned. It bleeded the planet and stripped the land. It took us forever to reason out doubts, and it took us forever to figure this out. Now we can't run no more, this is coming our way. Soon there will be much around us to say to you. Make up your mind and you see what you think, cause there is no one but we gather together. We gather together. It is no one but we gather together. Alright, let's sing all together, everybody.
che abbiamo appena firmato insieme a Papa Francesco, simbolo incarnato e un segno concreto del nostro impegno, concludiamo The Economy of Francesco 2022. Posso dire che sono stati 3 giorni stupendi, un'esplosione della vita maturata, cresciuta in questi 3 anni, ma sono stati anche una finestra spalancata sul futuro. Dichiariamo allora aperta l'Economy of Francesco 2.0.
I figli di Francesco partirono per il mondo proprio da questo luogo. La porziuncola di Santa Maria degli Angeli ce lo ricorda. Anche noi viviamo questa partenza come una nuova missione e un nuovo mandato. Siamo pronti a fare ritorno a casa. Partiamo diversi da come siamo arrivati, trasformati dall'esperienza condivisa, innamorati e annunciatori della profezia di Francesco.
Sì, e promettiamo di custodire la gioia, la gratitudine e l'impegno di questi giorni e siamo sicuri che Papa Francesco ci accompagnerà ancora nel nostro lavoro. Portiamo un invito che vi faccio, è quello di portare nel cuore questo momento, questo incontro con Papa Francesco e di avere nel cuore il desiderio di un nuovo incontro con lui, magari chi lo sa ancora qui ad Assisi e con i giovani che si sentiranno chiamati da Economy of Francesco. E per continuare in qualche modo a raccontarci tutti i miracoli grandi e piccoli che succedono dentro di noi e attorno a noi. Grazie.
Insieme a questo patto vogliamo anche portare i nostri impegni, quindi sapete che qua potete portare i vostri impegni perché questo è un patto personale ma anche collettivo, quindi lo facciamo anche tutti insieme. Penso che siamo quasi per concludere The Economy of Francesco, siamo veramente grati di questi momenti che abbiamo vissuto insieme a Papa Francesco. Lui è stato qua così come ce lo aveva chiesto insieme a noi in quella lettera del 1 maggio 2019.
Sì, e grazie per tutti i sorrisi, gli abbracci, gli incontri di questi giorni, sono stati veramente preziosi per tutti noi, quindi grazie veramente di cuore.
Portiamo questa energia dentro del nostro cuore con Dio e per una nuova economia. Grazie a tutti.
Grazie.
After this meeting here, in every journey, the first steps are the most important ones. But we know that we are not alone. We are already walking. We are not at the beginning of this journey. We are already walking together. We are already the economy of Francesco.
And so many people told us, oh look, Economy of Francesco in these 3 years, many told us, oh, you are utopists, there is a utopia in what you do. And maybe they are right, because who were the utopists? Thank you. The utopists were people who were dissatisfied with the world, with the societies in which they lived within. Were people that were dissatisfied with manifested injustices. And they imagine imaginary societies, beautiful model of economy and cities in which they will be living in. And we, Economy of Francesco people, do the same. But then, if I look to all of you, I see that we are not just utopia, because we are the already of the Economy of Francesco. We are prophetic, right, Valentina?
We have just one lantern in our hands, but this lantern is enough. We are living in the night of the world. Many of you, many of us know this night. The night of war, of famine, destruction, climate change. But this light can be enough. A small light can be seen with great clarity during the night. 3 years ago, we set out, driven by Pope Francis' word, not knowing precisely what they would mean for us. Today, we have this pact to honor. Not knowing precisely what does it mean. Today, we have this pact. The journey will teach us how to honor that pact. The only thing we know is that we cannot stand still. But as economists, as change makers, as entrepreneurs, we all know that walking is not enough. We need to build roads.
And also, we cannot hesitate in taking our first step. And this applies to each of us individually, but also us as a community. Because now it's amazing, we are here, we feel the energy, the power, we have just met the Pope. But what happens next Monday, when we will be alone, cold in our workplaces, in our universities and societies? Is there that the economy of Francesco will be living? Is there in which we have to remember these 3 days, the people we met, the stories we heard, the faces, the pact with the Pope? That is what is important for economy of Francesco, and that is our future.
So please, stop, be seated, and say how good we are, how fantastic we are, and how we deserved the Pope embrace. We didn't deserve the Pope embrace, but that's why we need to go out and tell the people that there is something for any one of us. Our friends here are teaching this. We didn't deserve nothing, but by being outside, we can do something together. To be out there, to be among the territories, we need each and every one of you. Those who worked to organize this event will continue to put themselves at service of you guys, of you. 1,000 and more people in this audience. Yet, at this event has shown us the living in the dove of EOF are you, are we together. EOF lives and will continue believing thanks to you. 1,000 and plus people living in their territories, in their hubs, in their institutions, in their universities. And these grains, which will grow and grow up fantastically, are called the villages, the hubs, and have your proper names. They are called with your names.
Indeed. And I think that we must agree that we received a lot in these days and these 3 years. Now we should ask ourselves, how much do we have left to give back to the community? So let's say goodbye with a promise. The promise is the following. We don't know where, but we know when we will be meeting together. It will be happening in 2 years from now. Again, we don't know where, so round of applause. Okay. And when we will meet, it will be very good to say again, as we did this time, finally. Thank you to everyone.
Ciao,
Bye.
Carlo Francesco.
Bye.
Walk with me. We're under the same sun, with oceans all around. Yeah, it's not how it should be. Many of us fight for basic things in life, so let's bring energy in the IoT and water for our brothers. Now the time is here and the water is clear. We must take care of each other. This is a nation to earth, where the
Going back. Please remember to leave your headphones here. Please remember to return your headphones. Remember to return the headphones. Thank you.